our signature, or our variance from a straight line from here to here, the thing that makes it uniquely yours is exactly what's limiting in your experience of infinite potential. So that, just trim a little bit this way. It could be small things, like if the hair is going over here and it pulls the head to the side, and you're not aware of it because you know what? It's my style. Okay, you guys can sit down. There's nothing wrong, and it's great that everyone is unique and different. And I think we all have to be careful about thinking that there's a right and wrong involved here. In every case, in every instance, what we're trying to do for ourselves is give ourselves a glimpse into infinite potential, so that we could bring into the world a truly insightful, inspired, creative life, rather than just the same old stuff over and over. That even we could make leaps in understanding. I mean, everything changes and is always changing. That's true. But we all, in certain ways, what has brought us here is that we're aware of how we're limited in what we can do. We want to do more. Maybe we're lacking some of the technology, the elevator. So that's part of what you get here. You get a new technology to add to your sort of toolbox, your repertoire, so that you could reach to new heights because of that technology. The technology is the technology of yoga, that's what I'm talking about. All the techniques that you're taught here. For example, meditation. Meditation it's possible for us in meditation to experience what we haven't experienced. To experience that which we see as not me in meditation. In conscious, normal, waking state, it's not possible for you to see anything that you haven't already seen. To be anything, unless you're it already. That's all you can do is reproduce. Reproduce, reproduce. There's never any newness or creation. And I think that's a little bit of what you feel the benefit of the yoga practice is. Somehow you feel renewed, revolutionized, let's say. You've had a look at your limitations, but you've also had this vision or this taste of potential that's out there that you could actually touch into in your life. And so all the asana practices, one of the primary things that we're trying to understand is first of all, to get back to the drawing, simple geometry, points, lines, triangles, pyramids, squares, all of it, so that we have a good drawing. Could I have somebody do a downward facing, maybe 2 different downward facing dogs? Somebody who is really has a hard time doing downward facing dog. They're very tight. And someone who is very limber. It's like the easiest thing that they could imagine doing. So how about a tight person? You're tight. And a very limber person. You're not tight. Let's have somebody that nobody wants to cop to that, right? Can we have somebody who can fake tight? Jules, come fake. course, is now going to fake tightness. So tight means probably can't straighten the legs, probably rounding the back like that kind of a person. Flexible, it kind of is not what I'm looking for here. I want more flexible. Okay, that's see what he's doing here? No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful what he's showing. What would cause a person to do that? No, they see themselves as a flexible person. And they like pushing into all that stuff. But I want you to think back to the drawing. Can you do that and turn sideways so the other direction so other people can see it? Same thing here. What's limiting him? You might say, well, it's tight muscles or something, right? But what's behind that?
He's tight.
First of all, he has a strange drawing in his head. But he also sees himself as the tight one, the one who's, you can relax for a minute. Do you see how this, but I'm telling you that from my perspective, there's absolutely no difference between these two people. They're both deluded. They need a trip to Egypt, relax. They need a trip to Egypt to look at the pyramids so that they know really what they're trying to do here.
Dave,
Yeah.
isn't there something that I notice with myself and our students is that maybe you have a drawing or you don't, but you don't have a perception of, like, you can't properly perceive what your body's doing. So you may have a drawing, but
Right.
then you're like, especially once you get inverted, does anyone notice that you lose
That's
eye?
exactly why you can't do this from the outside. If I go by, you go do that again facing this way. If I come by him 1 billion times in downward facing dog, do your really cool one. If I come by him 100 billion times in downward facing dog, and I push here, and I pull him up, and I get him into the triangle shape, or the pyramid shape. And I get him so he self-supports, so he's not hanging in his shoulders anymore. So the shoulders are incorporated into the sides, so that the legs are an expression of this perfect pyramid. Self-supporting, not self-collapsing. Self-supporting. Okay, relax. It doesn't matter. Every time I come to him in the next class, he'll be in that droopy one again. Because there's only so much from the outside that you can do, because he doesn't feel the difference. Mainly what he feels is that he has this experience of downward facing dog, and he's put it together with his personality, and the two have become really entwined. So the downward facing dog is his downward facing dog. It's unique. It's got his signature on it.
Well, it's a habit also, right? It's breaking a habit.
It's a habit.